Welcome everyone to Speech 1321, Summer 1. I'm looking forward to working with you all. One thing to keep in mind is this course does move along. It's fast and furious. So just keep that in mind. You've really got to stay on top of your assignments week after week. But before we get into all of that, with the expectations, the assignments, a little bit of an introduction to the course, I want to ask you all a question. What do you think makes a job more miserable? The people you have to work with or the tasks that you have to carry out? And of course, there's no right or wrong answer here, and it's going to depend. It's going to depend, right, on what those tasks are when you're working in your career or any job, what those tasks are, if you enjoy them, okay? Or maybe you enjoy the tasks, but the people you have to work with are irritating, right? Or make it challenging to carry out your tasks. So again, your answer is going to vary, but that's something to keep in mind because as we go through this course, this is Speech 1321, Business, Organizational and Business Communication. And one of the things that may help you find your career and be happy in your career is knowing a little bit about the culture of the organization, right? What kinds of people are being hired, and then of course developing communication skills for how to deal with people at work and whatever environment that you end up in. So these are some of the things that we're going to talk about with the course. I am Professor Lisa McNeil. I've been teaching here at the college for, since 2020. So a little bit about my background. I am from El Paso. I was born and raised. I did manage to escape for college and a little while after that, but I completed my bachelor's degree in English, minored in theater at Trinity University in San Antonio, and then I went on and completed my graduate work here at UTEP. So that's just a little bit of background about me. And then as I said before, here I am in El Paso, been working. I also worked in the secondary schools for a while, taught high school, even went back to my alma mater, El Paso High, go Tigers. So that's a little bit about my background. And I'm looking forward to getting to know you all a little bit. And that's going to lead me to my next area of concern, probably the one that you're worried about the most, and that is, what are your assignments? What are your grades? And if you look at Blackboard right now, you're only going to see your first assignment and the first 3 chapters. The rest of the course will go up on Friday. But I want you to get just this week, don't look too far forward, just concentrate on that first assignment, finding your way around Blackboard, figuring out how to record your assignments and upload them to either YouTube or using UJA. So I want you to really concentrate on that and on the first 3 chapters. Again, this course does move quickly. So let's talk about those assignments. So your first assignment is a speech of introduction. This is a very good business communication skill to have, because what it is you're not introducing yourself. Actually you are, but let me tease that out a little bit. Part of the purpose of the speech of introduction exercise is to teach you how to give a brief speech of introduction for someone else, because you may be called upon to do that. And you'll see in the video that specifically deals with that assignment. But in that, you're going to introduce yourself as if you were a keynote speaker. And you'll see, this may sound confusing right now, but when you watch the video and look at the assignment, I think it will become clear. So that's your first assignment, your speech of introduction. And there is, despite what the first video says, you do not have to turn in the document of the whole speech. I just want to see your video, okay, this time. So that's your speech of introduction. Then you will have an assignment of chapter questions where you're going to answer some of the questions or answer the questions for some of the chapters rather, and that's going to be one of the assignments. Then your next big assignment is going to be the interview, because that's also a purpose of this course. Besides teaching you good communication skills within an organizational and business setting, and also a little bit about organization's culture and what creates that type of environment, you're also going to look at interviewing skills. Okay, so that's your next big assignment, and that will entail you doing a mock interview which you will record. You'll record your answers to 10 standard interview questions. So you'll set it up kind of like this for the interview. And for that one, that does have a written component where you will also write down, or type out rather, the answers to the 10 standard interview questions. So that's another assignment. That's a big one. Then you also have a group discussion that you'll see how to do the groups. If you've taken online classes before, you may already know how to do this, but if not, then you'll see. You'll be put into groups, and then you'll have like a discussion board thread where you discuss, and so that's another assignment. That's going to have to do with business ethical questions, because we'll also talk about ethics in business communication as well, and what's ethical to do in some situations. So you'll discuss that with your group. And then your final assignment, which if you look at my part 1 syllabus, look at the points that each assignment is worth. Your final assignment, the oral final sales presentation, is worth 200 points, and the document that goes along with that is also worth 200 points. So keep that in mind. And as I said, I will have all of those posted by Friday, and then you can kind of look ahead and see where we're going. But right now, I just want you to focus on this first week of the course, learning how to navigate everything and getting that speech of introduction turned in. So that's a little bit about the purpose of the course, right? And that last part, the final sales presentation, does teach you how to give effective presentations. So, and the group the group discussion will also talk about how to work in teams and how to navigate the dreaded group assignments. Because when you go into your career, you almost always will have to work in teams in some capacity, and you will have to give, at some point, a professional presentation. So that's where this class is going. It's going to teach you how to navigate that, even sending emails. What's a professional email? What are some of the things you need to think about when you're writing an email, when you're choosing your channel of communication? So those are all the things that we're going to talk about this semester, and I think you'll have some fun. So at least I hope so. So here's some things to be aware of. As I want to reemphasize, this course moves fast and furious, so you do not have time, right, to get behind, etc. So please refer to my late policy on my syllabus. The name of the game is communication. Okay, so if you run into a problem, you need to email me or contact me through messages. So if you go into Blackboard, you'll see messages. That's the primary way to communicate with me. You click on that, it will pull up the names of the class, including my name, and you'll click on that, and then you send me the email. Notify me, because I will not accept any late work unless you've told me prior to or on that due date that, whatever it is happened. And then I will make a decision on a case-by-case basis whether or not to penalize you, which is usually 20 points off. But that's the usual penalty. But I do make decisions on a case-by-case basis if you've communicated with me. Now, here is the big important note, right? Newsflash, up in lights, etc. Do not wait until the fourth week of this course, right before finals, to tell me that you had this huge emergency a month ago and you're going to try to submit everything now. Wrong. At that point, I will not accept it, okay? Because remember, I have to balance, as a professor, I have to balance mercy with fairness to the other students who may have gone through a challenge, but they still got their work in, or they followed the rules and they contacted me and let me know what's going on. So, warning there, do not do that. I will not accept the work. I had a student one time who did that. I kid you not. It was the last day of the course where the finals had already been submitted, and the student wanted to turn everything in and was very upset when I wouldn't accept it. And I'm like, it's the last day of the course. So you need to think about your audience, right? Your professors. Your professors at that point are trying to grade finals. And so they don't have time to suddenly get 6 assignments from you. Do you see what I mean? So think about your audience. Think about the impact it's also going to have on the professor and on other people if you're working in a group. But again, things happen. So the name of the game is communication. Contact me, let me know what's going on. Get your work on time, because even if there is a legitimate reason, this course is 5 weeks, so you don't have time. You're not going to have time even to play catch up. So just do, stay on top of it. The primary way I communicate with you is announcements. So if you go into Blackboard, you'll also see announcements up there, and usually you'll see it. Like if you go into the course, boom, it'll show your announcement. And I try to send those to your email also so that you see them. But you need to check. You need to check in with this course at least 3 times a week just to make sure that there's no updates or anything like that. Okay. And also I usually remind you of what's due that week. And so if you look at the calendar, very important, go into my part 1 syllabus and you will see the calendar there. The list of the assignments with the points. They should all add up to 1,000 points. Okay. And then you will also see at the very end a calendar that shows you what you should be doing that week and the assignments. Now but go into Blackboard. Blackboard is the one that really shows you when those assignments are due. Okay, so be aware of that. That's the main thing. Also, if you're not familiar with Blackboard, when you go into Blackboard, and for me it's on the left hand side, I think it should be on you. It should have like institution, this list of things, including courses. And then down somewhere below, it should say assist. If you click on assist, that will take you into a window where you can click on videos that actually help you. It'll say something like instructions for students using Blackboard Ultra. So you can click on those videos and it will familiarize yourself. It will familiarize you with how to use Blackboard. And then if you go into the course right now and you click on the welcome materials, on one of those at the bottom, it does give you the numbers for the IT department here at EPCC. And if you have any technical difficulties, contact them, because I'm right there with you. Okay. I like to joke that I know just enough on a computer to be dangerous. Okay. So if you have technical difficulties, call them, and they should be able to help you. And let's see, anything else? So stay on top of everything, read those chapters. Oh, that's the other good news. So you are using what's called the OER textbook. And the good thing about this, it's free and it's online. It's provided there for you in the course. So you click on it and it will take you to that textbook. Now, the bad news is you have to kind of navigate through the pages to get to the different chapters. The recommendation is for you to download it onto your computer. That way you have it there and you can click around as need be. So that's the other thing to keep in mind. And we do, I mean, that's the course. I also include PowerPoint slides so you can kind of look at those slides to see what the main ideas are and make sure you know what those are. Okay. And to kind of give you an idea of how the course is structured, this is the final thing. So the first part, actually, of any communication class, including Speech 1315, any kind of mass comm class you might be taking, the first part's the communication theory part. Okay, it kind of familiarizes you with what is this thing called communication. What is communication? Why do so many miscommunications occur, and how can you minimize it? Okay, how can you minimize miscommunications? So that's the first part, the communication theory. Then we get into organizational communication and the different types of organizational models, this idea of organizational culture, the directions of communication that happen within an organization. And also some of the challenges, the interpersonal challenges you might encounter in the organization, right? So this whole idea of culture and where do you fit? Looking at your communication style, your personality, what type of organizational culture will you fit in well? Do you thrive in a highly competitive situation, or do you like things more cooperative? Do you like working more in teams? Or do you like working more privately, individually? So that's kind of the next part. These are all things to think about. Then we'll get into the interview process, right? Looking at the interview process. And then finally, the final part, the final few chapters concentrate on groups, working in groups, very important. And then finally, how to give a professional presentation. Okay. So whether it be informative or persuasive. So you'll see, because that's a final sales presentation. You can have a little fun with that. So mainly, class, I hope you really focus on this. That this information should help you and have some fun, right? Have some fun. Now, when it comes to recording your videos, I want you to you can stand up, right? You can stand up. You'll see me in some of my other videos where I'm standing up. They're older videos, I'm warning you. So pay attention to the content, not necessarily all the due dates. The due dates are in Blackboard, but some of them I'm standing. Here I'm sitting, but what you want to make sure is you have a nice background behind you and that I can see you, your level, because what happens, I've got my laptop here on a stack of books, because otherwise it would be this horrible, you'd be looking up at me like we don't want to see everybody's nose hairs, okay? It's not a pleasant angle. Up angles are not. So you want to try to level it like this. And you don't want it so close in that I can't see your gestures if you're sitting down. Now, some of them you really need to stand up. For that final sales presentation, you should be standing up. You should make it look professional. But we'll, again, as we move through the course, we'll talk more about that. But I did want to take the opportunity to show you this. See, level. You can see my hands, my gestures. I'm looking right at you. Okay? So keep all of that in mind because you never know. You might give an interview remotely. So you're through Zoom, and that's a whole nother communication challenge that we'll talk about too when we get to the interviews. So welcome again. I'm looking forward to working with all of you, and let's learn some things and have some fun so you can be a better communicator. Take care, class.